This is Dr. Stephen Cangiano. I am the president and co-founder of RDT.Media and Events with its online companion relationship-development.com and humanity-upgrade.com. We're continuing our discussion with Dr. Rick Hanson, multiple New York Times bestseller. We just finished a conversation with activation versus installation, a critical concept in the personal development, life enhancement industry. We're going to continue our discussion with neuroplasticity. Some people consider this one of the most important discoveries in scientific history. You can actually change the structure, the permanent structure of your brain by the way you think. Let's get started. I think what you said is that neuroplasticity is one of the most important discoveries in the history of humanity. Am I overstating that, or did you say something similar to that?
I would probably say something similar to that. I mean, it's been known for over a century that if a child learns to walk instead of crawl, or a business manager learns how to be more patient and skillful in running team meetings, let's say, or a person learns how to have more of a stable, I call it an unshakable core of well-being and inner peace. If a person develops these things, something has to physically change. Otherwise, we're left with magic. And we kind of leave magic. I believe in magic, but we leave it out of the scientific account. Something had to change. So there's been a long understanding that the brain had to be plastic in the sense of being changeable. But what is radical, and it's exactly right what you said, in the last 20 years, there have been extraordinary breakthroughs in really understanding the ways in which the brain changes and the degree to which it changes and how to use our attention and other factors like helping experiences be longer, or feeling them in our whole body, or focusing on what's rewarding in our various experiences. These engage little mechanisms inside the brain that, in effect, take the song of the experience that's playing in the inner iPod and record it in the brain so that the residues of that experience actually sink in. So those discoveries have been fantastic. And the inner geek that probably you and I share just is amazed at all these little molecular R2D2 units that are converting passing experiences, if we help them, into some kind of lasting structural change inside. You know the saying, neurons that fire together, wire together. So what I'm very interested in is the specific skills, which we may well talk about. What can people actually do concretely? What are the actionable items, the takeaways, the deliverables here, if you will, that people can actually do to help those neurons fire together in such a way that they really actually wire together. And I just think it's both deeply interesting and incredibly practical.
Yeah. So you give a couple of examples, the London taxi drivers who actually part of their brain enlarges or enhances because they have to learn the maps of London. And then another one with someone plays the piano, the motor skill areas of the brain. And that's what, correct me if I'm wrong, that's what neuroplasticity is that you can, with thoughts, you can actually change the structure of your brain. Am I saying that correctly, or is that too simplistic?
No, you're right. And thanks for helping me be really concrete about it. So if you just think about it, we got a brain, and you know these things, but I'll say them for people in general. It's got a lot of cells in it, 1.1 trillion cells, 100 billion neurons, as many neurons in our head as there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. These neurons are firing on average 5 to 50 times a second. They make thousands of connections with each other. So that means that inside our head is a network with several hundred trillion little microprocessors, little synapses at the connections between these neurons. So that brain and all the activity in it is enabling people to have experiences of something like, let's say, gratitude or self-worth, or maybe like me in my relationship with my wife, that moment where you realize, oh, things go better when I do this instead of that. I'm going to try to help myself remember to do this from now on. I want to be like they say about rats. in mazes, one trial learners. I want to be a one trial learner where the cheese is. Which tunnel has the cheese? All right. So to be having these experiences, there must be underlying neural activity. So we're having experiences, good intentions, insights, positive feelings. To enable those experiences, there must be underlying neural activity that correlates with it. It sounds complicated, but the two just go together. What it means, though, is that if you help yourself have experiences that are useful and you turbocharge them with the skills that I teach a ton of, as you know, if you turbocharge those experiences, that enlists underlying neural factors, okay? A little machinery deep down in here in the brain. And what that means is that those little underlying neural factors that are physical forms of firing, physical activity inside the genetic expression in the cells, little physical ebbs and flows of neurotransmitters. If you can work that system right, you can kind of hack the hardware. You can make those underlying physical factors really, really, really leave lasting physical traces behind. And that's the process of hardwiring happiness into your nervous system, inner strength, self-worth, commitment to exercise, commitment to sobriety, whatever you want to focus on, you can actually hardwire it into yourself over time. That's how the process works. The mechanisms are many mechanisms, but the essence is really simple. Have it. That's the activation phase of the experience. Whatever you want to grow, you must begin with an experience of it. Traits are grown from states. So you start with a state, usually because you're already experiencing it. Maybe because someone is listening to you or checking out one of your wonderful programs or reading some of the material you have, and they start realizing things or having feelings inside. So you start with the state, but then you can help that state become a trait, deeply wired into yourself over time. And that's fantastic.
This is Dr. Stephen Cangiano. Thank you for joining me for this conversation with Rick Hanson on neuroplasticity. You can change the structure of your brain with the way you think. Next, we are going to talk about the important concept of mindfulness and mindfulness versus meditation. And Rick is going to give you some secrets on how you can increase your mindfulness today.